Joining us now, retired Brigadier General Shawn Harris. He is also running for Georgia's 14th congressional district. And sir, thank you very much for your time tonight. So regarding the military operations we have seen play out, Iran retaliating on the Gulf states, by many accounts, those strikes have appeared to unify the GCC even further and isolate Iran at the same time. How significant a development do you see that being?
Yeah, Kelly, first of all, I want to say thanks for having me on your show. What is currently happening on the ground, from what I can see from back here in the States, is Iran is now back against the wall. The rest of the region is trying to say, hey, let's see what can we do to make sure that we can keep ourselves safe. As you can see earlier today, Saudi Arabia actually said, hey, if you continue to shoot into our country, we're going to shoot back. I was just happy to hear that the UK is starting to come around and want to help out the United States, because I was a little concerned before we got on this session that potentially we may be doing this alone, just us and Israel.
You know, and you have said a clearly defined mission and an end goal is critical to success. You don't believe we have it here. The president, on the flip side, has said his overall objective is defending the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime. So what level of insight do you believe Americans will receive regarding that threat level posed by Iran before this military operation even played out?
Yeah, we missed a couple of steps. We're already into a war right now. If I was giving President Trump as a recommendation, like I used to do in the military, I would say this, sir: tomorrow, Monday, you need to come up on the net and brief the American people of why we're actually in this war with Iran. What is the end state, and how do we know when we actually want it? The next thing I would actually say to Congress is all of Congress needs to come back, listen to what the president has to say in a top secret setting. But then on top of that, Congress needs to debate it, and then they need to either vote yes or no, should we actually be in a war with Iran? Because as you know, President Trump has said many a times that he was never going to get us in another war. And right now, because we have already had soldiers to be killed and many others injured, and as he said earlier tonight, we're expecting more to even get killed, that is a war. So we need everybody to step up and do their job.
And through a political lens, there are risks when we talk about attempts at regime change. Obviously, a big one is this operation potentially dragging on. The vice president has said that won't happen in recent days, but how critical is the timeline here politically in your mind?
Well, politically, the timeline is already out of control. And the reason why I say that is this. The president a few days ago or 2 days ago said this would probably happen 2 or 3 days. Now he's kind of pushing it out maybe to 3 weeks to 4 weeks. At the end of the day, more troops potentially. We pray that our troops don't come home dead. But as the American people see troops' bodies come home, they're going to start asking very hard questions. And President Trump ran on this. He actually said that he was not going to put us in any more wars, but yet here we are. And at the end of the day, he is losing his credibility with everybody here in the United States, but specifically here in Northwest Georgia, where I'm sitting tonight.
Well, obviously, this depends on the outcome of this operation overall. But when we look ahead to the midterms, we know domestic issues, they're typically front and center, the economy usually topping that list. But this vote on the War Powers Act, it will put lawmakers on the record. How big of an issue do you predict any of those stances will be come November?
Well, still the number one issue going to be during the midterm is still going to be the economy. Affordability is the number one thing. But you're exactly right. For my election, it goes down on March 10th. Good Lord willing, I win it. That's why I want to go to D.C., hold President Trump accountable. And when I say hold him accountable, if his answers of what he's planning on doing make sense, I will vote to support him. But if it don't, I will vote no, because as a veteran, as somebody who spent time in Afghanistan, the last thing I want to do is put our sons and daughters back in harm's way for a war that none of us actually signed up for.
Well, and many agree with that stance. Shawn Harris, thank you for your service. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.